Alright, this is Module 4, Lesson 13, Homework Help. So the way I'm going to help you with homework is to give you the problems that you're not doing. So I'm going to do B, C, and F. So this one is actually B. So I'll give you an example. Now, one of the things that you have to remember is when you're drawing, you have to draw a rectangle fraction model to show your thinking. Of course, we're going to solve it, and most of you will be able to solve it without that, but it's asking you to draw one, so make sure you draw one. This will give practice because on a test, they might show you one, and you're going to have to see who's right. Okay, so which one do you do? Which one do you divide first or use first? Well, it's pretty easy. 1/3 of a half. So the after the of, or after the multiplication, that's the one you want to use. And I color coded it for you. So we are actually going to divide this by half. And let me just make sure I have a complete whole there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it shows me the half right here, so I'm going to show the half right there. So that is half a cake. And I'm going to shade it in with the green to show that this is half the cake. Now 1/3 of that, we're only going to talk about 1/3 of a half. So we're actually multiplying it, and most of you can already know the answer, that the answer is going to be 1/6. But they're asking us to draw it, so we're going to draw it. So we're going to divide the second part in thirds. And it's not perfect, but you get the idea. So now I have the third, the 1/3. Okay, that's what I actually divided it into. Let me actually, I want to do a full line here, and then a dash line there, full line here, dash line here. And the reason I'm doing the dashed lines is that's going to give us our whole, how many there are in the whole thing, how many pieces. But in actuality, we're just looking for 1/3 of this. So basically it's saying, don't pay attention to this. We just need 1/3 of this. Okay? But in order to get that, we need to see what the whole is. All right. So now, 1/3 of this is right here. This is 1/3. So I'm going to hatch it the other way. So we can see that this first part over here was half of the whole. Everyone with me so far? Now if we count, we will see that there are 6 parts now. So that gives us our denominator. And only one section, this section here, is shaded in with both. So it's 1/6. Forget about that 3. The 3 was just there to count. Okay? That we can see. All right, that there's 6 parts to it. And that's how we got our denominator. Okay? So it's fairly straightforward. If you do the straight across way, we're doing 1 times 1 equals 1, and 3 times 2 equals 6. But they want you to see that out of a whole cake, we're only talking about half of it, and then of that half, we're only talking about 1/3 of it, which is this section here. Okay? And that's how we get our 6 pieces, but only one piece has the hatch going both ways. All right, so let's do another problem. Now this one just says of, which is basically the same thing. We're going to look at that second one, which is half. And again, we're going to do half Okay, we're going to do half of this to represent the half. Okay, that's the half right there. That's why I did in green. We are going to be multiplying by 1/4. Alright, so we're going to hatch this half. Then we're going to do 1/4 of the half. So there, I cut it into fourths, and I know it's fourths because it's right there. It's our denominator, and that's going to be 1/4 of it. And this is our half again. And hopefully you see that we have 1/8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. And out of those 8 parts, only one of them has hatches both ways, a cross hatch. Right? So always remember that you need to draw your your area model and use the second one most of the time, I should say, because that is saying the half, 1/4 of that half. So we have to first show the half and then show 1/4. Now here, there is no of, but again, we know that multiplication is of, as I've stated in class several times. So we'll do the 1/3. Okay, so we're going to do the 1/3 first. We're going to divide this into thirds. Okay, and we're going to hatch only 1/3 of it. Why 1? Because it says 1. 1/3. We're dealing with only unit fractions, so it's always going to be 1 in a sense, even when they try to trick you. Got to think of that 1. Now, out of that 1, we are going to divide it by 4. And then we're going to hatch the other way. There we go. So now we have 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our answer is 1/12. Okay? So hopefully you can see how the 12 parts are there, but only one part, this part right here, is the only part that is crosshatched both ways. Okay? Now, we can see the straight way is 4 times 3 is 12, and then 1 times 1 is 1. That will be helpful later, and that's the easy way to do it, but there will be other things that will make it more complicated. Alright, so I will show you what the homework is, just in case you forgot it. Oops. There we go. That's the homework. Hopefully this is helpful. Again, give me feedback on Class Dojo if I'm going too fast or I'm going too slow, or if it's helpful or if it's not helpful. Do your best.